Welcome back to the Tracy Take. I'm your co-host Tyler here with my brother Ryan, and today we are continuing our first round series of the 2023 NFL Draft, continuing with the Arizona Cardinals and what we feel they are going to do and maybe what they should do in this upcoming draft. But before we get into that, Ryan and I, we have a special announcement. We will be coming at you live on April 27th at 6:45 Central Standard Time, and we will be streaming the draft. So please join us and add some comments and kind of watch along with us. And so we can kind of all get to experience this channel. Also, if you have not already, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell to get notified when we do go live. Also, share our content with your friends and family, and so we can kind of keep continuing to grow the channel. And Ryan, with that being said, let's move on now to the Arizona Cardinals, who I think we mentioned this in kind of their mock draft, our 7-round mock draft review from a couple videos ago, or a couple Cardinals videos ago, and I think they're just in a win. If they trade back, I think they can depending on, I guess, on how far back they go, but they can still get. They could probably get a lot of good draft picks, maybe a first-round pick for next year, and still get good quality players. And if not, you at minimum are going to have access to Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson, or Jalen Carter, or an offensive lineman if they want. Like they're because most likely two quarterbacks are going to be going 1-2. Most likely.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if the Texans didn't go quarterback, but there's the off chance. So either way, though, they're going to get a stud defensive lineman at minimum. Or if they really like an offensive lineman, let's say they really like Paris Johnson Jr., they can go that. I wouldn't do that route. I would prefer to go one of the edge rushers. But they to me, I just think they're in a win-win situation.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you look at the prospects. There's only a handful of blue chip prospects. And then you have this quarterback group where people seem to be all over the place on all of them. The only one that seems to be somewhat consistent across most analysts is the fact that Will Levis is quarterback 4. Unless you're in the Colts organization, Will Levis is quarterback 4. So I agree. To me, I think the Cardinals will trade back. I think it's just a matter of who. If the Raiders like who falls out of those top 2 picks at quarterback, I think moving back from 3 to 7 is a good opportunity. The Titans are kind of in that mix, especially with the Colts being in the division and being at 4. I think the Titans would be in a situation where they might be willing to give up a little bit more draft capital than what the pick is actually worth. And then also, speaking of the Colts might be willing to throw a 3rd-round pick this year and a 3rd-round pick next year at the Cardinals and just be like, hey, don't give that to anybody else. We want this pick. We like our guy fell to us. Let's get him. Yeah. And so I think the Cardinals, kind of what you said, are in a perfect spot in this draft for a young team. They're not going to be competitive this year with Kyler Murray's injury. DeAndre Hopkins looks like he wants to be. Well, he doesn't look like DeAndre Hopkins has requested a trade from the organization, and I just think for them trading back makes sense. Accumulate picks, tossing D-Hop to a contending team makes a lot of sense as well. So I think they're going to come out of this draft as pretty big winners.
Yeah. I'm curious if even if they would want to do this, but they could get more draft picks back if they packaged up that 3rd pick and D-Hop to a team like the Raiders. So then you can like guarantee maybe a 1st-round pick, or if not, well, a guarantee 1st-round pick for sure, maybe another one if you include DeAndre Hopkins, or several day 2 picks to go along with potentially an additional first, just because of the competition of moving up and what that would mean to go get up and get the quarterback. But that is an interesting situation with DeAndre Hopkins. It's almost like the Cardinals to me right now almost seem exactly like what the have been in for the past couple years, where new coach, new organization, they don't have too much of a QB controversy. He's going to be coming off of just a serious knee injury is what I mean by that. Yeah. But they need borderline everything. They have a star receiver who wants out, and that comparison there is like to Brandon Cooks. It's like, and he's just going to be just kind of wasting his career there over these next couple of years as he gets older. So And then on defense, they need borderline everything on top of that. So, and that reminds me a little bit of what the Texans are in. New head coach as well coming over. And it's going to be a couple years, I think, before the Cardinals can kind of bounce back out of this. Cliff Kingsbury did not do them any favors with how he managed that team. So, what's the timetable again with Kyler Murray coming back?
So he tore it in December of 2022. So
it's a pretty bad one too. Like there's never a good one, but
it was a non-contact like complete tear. It wasn't good. And then so like best case scenario, he's back practicing in 6 months. He's looking realistically 9 to 12 months until he's back able to play. But even then, I think you look at ACL tears, and it takes players like the next season is like a rehabilitation season, and then the season after that is when they really start to play well. The exception to that is like Adrian Peterson. He tore his and then ran for 2,000 yards 6 months later. So it really just depends on the player.
Mm-hmm. So, well, and this is what I hope, and I keep thinking of the or what I hope they don't do is I keep thinking of the Derrick Rose situation with the Bulls. Is he's out for the entire year, and then, and correct me if I'm trying to remember, but it's like then he came in for like the final couple games and just would play a couple minutes. But I think it was all meaningless because I don't think the team was good. I'm trying to remember exactly, but then he goes and tears his Achilles, in a meaningless thing. And so for me, if I'm the Cardinals and I think of that with Kyler Murray, and by all accounts, they are not going to be good this year. Like, or by all guesstimations, they're not going to be good this year. And if it comes December, let's say it is a longer route, like you said, why play Kyler Murray in December?
Exactly. Well, they're already going to be out of playoff contention at that point, especially if D-Hop's traded. This defense needs to be rebuilt. So, also one guy didn't mention that Budda Baker wants to be traded as well.
Yeah, that is in recent news as well. So, got a little bit off of the first round potential talk, but also I think it's kind of I really have like two options. It's like best defensive player available because I don't think there's any offensive linemen. I personally wouldn't move up. I'm sure that if they wanted to solidify the right tackle or guard position, maybe with Peter Skoronski, you could get that. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, I don't think they will go with Carter just because of the question mark. So going with Anderson or Tyree Wilson, to me, I think is the no-brainer decision here on whichever one they like the most.
Yeah. So I think if they trade back to 4, obviously they'll have their pick of the litter because that would most likely
it's the same situation as
3 quarterbacks have gone off the board.
Yeah.
If they go back to 7, I would actually be really interested to see if Jalen Carter makes it because Jonathan Gannon was that defensive coordinator with Javon Hargraves that did really well. And I think Jalen Carter can be a Javon Hargraves for sure.
Yeah.
If he mentally shows up and with some of his off the field issues, I think he's there at 7. And so I think that would be a really interesting prospect. Like you said, Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson would be good picks. I'll go against you a little bit on the Peter Skoronski thing. They do need some interior offensive linemen. And the more I hear about Peter Skoronski, the more and more I like him.
Yeah.
And
I just want to preface as well that was at 3. If they 7 and then they want to take Skoronski, I'm all for that.
That's
I just mean at 3. I just meant at 3 specifically.
Okay. But I also think Peter Skoronski, maybe not at 3, but at 7, I think is very close to a Quentin Nelson type guard prospect where he's just completely dominant. He's going to be so technically sound and like he's a plug and play, solidifies the interior of that offensive line for sure. And so, and that's at guard. He can play tackle for you, but I do think he's going to be a perennial Pro Bowler at guard. So, But let's go ahead and wrap up the episode there for the Arizona Cardinals. Let us know down below what you think they should do here in the first round of the 2023 NFL Draft. Go ahead and like and subscribe and smash that bell so you get notified when time I create new content. Tune in on April 27th to our live stream. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.